und bringt Chayus in Elul. Und noch eine andere Sprache, Chay Elul, gibt ein Chayus in der Avede von Anile Deide und Deide Li. Der Rebbe ist mit Dayek, als in der Sprache, zwischen dem ersten Sprache und der zweiten Sprache, ist auch etwas Echelukim. In der ersten Sprache sagt der Tag hat gebringt Chayus und Leben. Und in der zweiten Sprache sagt nicht der Tag, sagt Chay Elul, gibt der Chayus. In der ersten Sprache ist der Tag Chay Elul, in der zweiten Sprache redet dem Ion von Chay Elul. Noch ein Chiluk ist, in der ersten Sprache sagt der Tag hat gebringt, wir lassen Ovar und bringt, Ovar und Hewe. In der zweiten Sprache sagt Chay Elul gibt ein Chayus in der Avede von Anile Deide. Wir lassen Hewe, gibt. Noch eine Sprache, noch ein Chiluk. In der ersten Sprache steht Chay Elul, gibt ein Chayus in Elul. Hat gebringt und der Sprache für Chay Elul hat gebringt und bringt ein Leben in Elul. In der zweiten Sprache sagt nicht in Elul, sagt in der Avede von Anile Deide und Deide Li. Noch ein Chiluk. In dem ersten Loschen sagt als Hasidus, hat gebringt und bringt ein Leben. In der zweiten Sprache nutzt Loschen Akedesh, gibt ein Chayus in der Avede von Anile Deide. Der Rebbe ist Masber, als Bechlal in der Ingen von Elul ist da, bis im Hasidus, Bechlal ist Elul ist der Avede mit Zademato, Milamato Lemailo, Anile Deide und Deide Li. Elul Mai, Kedei, wir sollen kennen, Ton, der Avede, ist da die Ingen von Melech Basode, das der Ingen von Yisroel, der Leile, was die Skalos, mit dem wir das Rachmin, was gibt der Keach zu der Avede von Yisroel, der Letati, von Anile Deide und Deide Li. Aber der Iker Avede von Elul ist Anile Deide und Deide Li. Und die ganze Ringen von Yisroel, der Leile, ist nur auf zu jedem Keach zu dem. Ist der Meise, da 2 Jahre in Elul. Es ist da der Iker Avede von Elul, das ist die Avede mit Lemato Lemailo, Anile Deide und Deide Li. Aber es ist da noch ein Ingen, das ist der Ringen von Yisroel, der Leile, was geht der Keach zu dem. Ist das, mit Leuten können wir verstehen, beide Sprachen. Mit noch ein Dome. Wir sehen bei Shabbos, es ist da, der Zeichnung von der Tag, legabe die ganze Woche, das ist jemals wie, der Tag ist die eine von den 7 Tagen, aber das ist ein spezieller Tag, das ist ein heiliger Tag. Ist Veränderungen von der Tag und Veränderungen von der Heiligkeit von Shabbos. Das der Ingen von Tag ist verbunden mit der SLS, mit der 24 Stunden. Das ist alterig wie alle anderen 24 Stunden. Der Ingen von Zman. Was in der Ingen von Tegen und Shabbos, die Kedusha von Shabbos, ist doch Heilige von Zman. Ist alterig sein in Elul, in Elul Bechlal legen das ist. Fran de Gloos in Chay Elul, Fran der Tag Chay Elul. Das ist ein Tag. Und das ist verbunden mit den Ingen von Yisroel der Leile, der Keach, was die Skalos mit Gibel des Rachmin, was geht zu der, wir kennen Ton der Avede von Anile Deide, und vor allem der Inhalt von Chay Elul, der Inhalt von Chay Elul, der Inhalt von Elul Bechal, das ist der Avede von Anile Deide und Deide liegt. Ist leidem, man versteht beide Sprachen. Das, was sagt, als Chay Elul hat gebringt und gibt a Chayus in Elul, der Rest, sagt der Tag von Chay Elul. Das ist der Ingen von Yisroel der Leile, was ist da in Elul. Was in dem Gufe hat Chay Elul, da reingebringt a Chayus. Bald, als der Tag ist verbunden mit den Uledes von Meures Agdelim, in das hat gebringt bei Ochel noch mehr Chayus in die Isgalus, mit dem wir es machen. Und das ist eigentlich verbunden mit Loschen, hat gebringt der Loschen Oba. weil der Abine von des Hauses der Leile, dass sagt, was kommt, mit dem Milo, dass sie nicht stellen in der Welt, das hat doch Töne, das kommt mit dem Milo. Der Tag wird gebringt und bringt, dass es kommt von Loschen Ober. Sie sagt eigentlich, was kommt früher, noch vor der Abine. Als je één keer met zijn ingen van tegenarbeiden van Elul, dat is de ringen van die Sarose de la Tate, en die deed. En daar zegt er de tweede spraak, Chai Elul, Gita Chaius. Gita Chaius in de arbeiden van Anile deden we deed die lied. Was er tegen de ingen van Chai Elul? De ingen van Oofte van Hasidus, wat zich opgetan door Chai Elul. Dat is het eigenlijk toch alleen arbeiden Sarotto. Dat is niet zelfs komt met de Milo. Amen, dat alleen daar werken de minion. Dat alleen leren Hasidus. Und der Becken der Ringe von der Arbeide, von Anila Deide, mit Deideli. Die beide Sprachen seien passend zu den beiden Unionen. Und ja, denken, verstehen noch ein Chiluk, was da sagt Loschen Jiddisch und da sagt Loschen Akedisch, weil Jiddisch ist eine niedrige Sprache wie Loschen Kedisch. Und ist das was man sagt, der erste Ringen, der Ingen was, als ik komt uit Sarose de la Ele, kadei zu der Becken da wieder von der Sarose de la Tate, das sorgt, als der Mensch ist in einer niedrigen Madrege. Darf kommen, haben an in Askeach, soll der Becken. Der Fahrer das Loschen Jiddisch. Maar schenke als Rätsel wegen der Aveide von Anile Deide, we Deide Li, Rätsel sagen na Mensch, das ist eine Hecher, tut schon in der Aveide, sagt der Loschen Akedisch, gibt Chaius in der Aveide von Anile Deide, we Deide Li. Und der Rebbe sagt, wir können sagen, dass das verbunden mit beiden Moeres Agdelim, wo seine geboren geworden in Chayel, Chaim. Der Chilik von der Baal Shem HaKodesh, mit dem alten Rebbe, der Baal Shem HaKodesh wird Megali gewesen, Hasidus HaKlolis. Was Hasidus HaKlolis ist auch als es hat gerettet wegen Menschen, die seine Gemeinde in der Niedrigkeit und durch die Ringen von die Yisroel, was Hasidus HaKlolis hat umgetan, als sie können echt dienen der Weberschen. Danach kommen noch ein Hecher Madrege, Hasidus Chabad, und das hat gegeben dem Kreach, und sie können dienen der Weberschen in der Reife von dieser Rosse der Tate, an ihre Lady, mit einer Lied. Ist die zwei, Meure sagt dem, verbunden mit beiden Leschenes. Der Chaim, der Rebbe soll helfen. Aber der Tag hat gegeben und gibt der Chais in Elul in die Yisroel Sarose de la Ele und wie Chai Elul gibt der Chaius in der Arbeide von Anile Deide ve Deideli ist jeder einer von uns soll sich nicht selber werden, soll lernen Hasidus in Abchine als der Arbeide von Anile Deide soll sein mit der Chaius soll sich wir soll ankommen durch die Arbeide von der Lille Deide zu den Geloien von der Deide Li, was das der Jinien von Jere Eloi, was tut sich auf mit Rosh Hashanah, was jemand der Melech geht rein bei Echel Malchusse und geht noch ein Echel Malchusse und wir sollen schon sein, wir kommen Mamesh, die zusammen mit dem Melech in Beis Hamikdash, mit des Gales von Rebbe und Teke von Miyad Mamesh, L'chaim. I did I did I did I did I did לחיים. חיים ברוך. Tak sibe und nach sibe, sibe teve, schon teve suko וגשמי וברוטני. בונו לכל ישראל, כל המצטער, פשוט ממש. Hasidus Farbrengen führt man sich mit erzählt Hasidus Meise. Und die Kavone von der Erzählung ist, dass der Rebbe Bahamen soll echt annehmen die Sache und sein Geringer zu, soll kennen, sein aber halb mit dem Meise. Vergelt der Meise von meinem Bruder, für die der ja behoefte, nicht lang. Es ist geboren auf Familie, was erzählt der 40 Rabbi Glachowski, als jeden Tag lehnt viele Briefe von Rebbe. Und sagt, dass das doch ein Brot ist, durch die Ehen von den Briefen von Rebbe. Mein Bruder hat sich angenommen, lehnt in Gottschick ein Brief jeden Tag. Wohnt in Argentina, in Buenos Aires. Ein Tag kommt zu ihm mit Ayid und klopft sich, als leidt von der Schochen. Leidt sehr stark von der Schochen. Nicht nach gemeinem was steht in der Leidung, der Riker hat gelitten. Und dann weiß ich, was es da. Ayid oder Agol? Schochen Ayid. Weiß ich, das weiß ich. Da, Stamm sagen will ich nicht. Ich hab das schon. Okay. Und mein Bruder hat gelernt bei Nacht der Brief von Rebbe. Und der Rebbe schreibt den Brief zu punkten in dem Problem. Zu Imitzen oder der Fruitze, gedenkt ist der Fruitze am Mann, was hat gelitten von der Schochen. Und der Rebbe sagt, als mich Stome in der Früh beschaß mit Abend, in gesagt Birches Ashachar, bet mir dort gekäme mit Schochen ran. Mir Stome sagt nicht mit gut mit der richtige Kalone. Sagt es damals, soll das sagen mit Kalone. A zweiten sagt der Rebbe, als wie der Schochen ra, bei jeder Mensch ist der Yisroel, soll bet nechet, soll der Mustade sein, nach gekäme von dem Schochen reichen. Und dem Yisroel. Und der dritte sagt der Rebbe, soll checken die Mezuzes. Auf morgen, als getroffen die Mieden, sagt der Rebbe, sagt, ich habe nicht gelegt der Brief, wegen dein Problem. Und der Rebbe sagt, 3 Millionen. Sagt er gleich, Ich nehme gleich checken um Mezuzes. Sagt sehr gut und fein, aber das ist der dritte Sache. Im Brief standen zwei Sachen früher. Die erste Sache ist dann, so eine Chaven sein, die Tfile von Vachikenu im Schochenroch. Und wir standen da in der Linie von dem Yisroel. Das ist echt das Schochenroch. Später hat nicht gesehen vor 2 Monaten. Trefft ihm noch 2 Monaten, fragt ihm, klingt zu ihm, noch 2 Monaten, fragt ihm, nur was hört sich, hör nicht von dir. Sagt ich weiß nicht, was zu sagen dir. Ich weiß nicht, was geschehen mit meinen Schochen. Sie ist weggefahren, sie ist voneinander geklieben. Ich habe aufgehört zu leiden von ihm. Hat das erzählt zu Noach zweiten, hat ihm jetzt gesagt, wir müssen mit der Schochen bald kommen zurück. Durchgehen noch 2 Monaten, klingt noch einmal, nur was hört sich? Sagt dieselbe Sache. Ich weiß nicht, was geschehen mit dem, sie ist nicht tot, sie ist da weggegangen, ich habe aufgehört zu leiden. Ich bemeile, was in der Kunde von der Meise, als wir da mit Chaven sein, wir schaffen mit Damen, und sagen Wörter und trachten, was mir sagt. Und Poshet gepschut, der Rebbe stellt, Shemei hat Philo, im Moment mit dem Mimus, mit einer Ernstkeit, und wir sagen, die Brauch ist, wie sicher der Rebbe wird mir mal sein, was mir bett. Als wir in Gashmirus, dann sehe ich die Bruch nicht. Nur Menschen, was fressen, das ist Mengen, oder sie sagen, andere glauben, andere trachten bei sich. Es ist nicht scheich zu einem Ärger, zu einem Gefühl. Also, so ich sehe das als gut. Ich soll geworden von größeren Spielen, nicht von einem Postament wie ich. Aber wir müssen also nicht das sehen. Aber mit Bett bei der Rebus, a viele Ingen Ruchni, sicher der Rebus wird geben. Also wir schon ankommen, und die Maträge von Rotzen, weil die sich erkennen, anerkennen, es kommen ein Gefühl. Aus der Rotzen zum Meiersten, ist aus dem Wissen, dass er noch so noch Hashem oder Kech. Das ist nicht, weil du es getan, weil der Rebus hat ihm gegeben. Wer sei, darf man nehmen die Peres und reinlegen das in der Tenne. Was ist Tenne? Zakele. In was verstehen die Wort Tenne? In 3 Timing. Das gibt eine Reius in die Wörter. Aber es war nicht ein Tagin. Aber in Tenne ist nicht auch ein Topf. Das ist der Magil. Weil der Rätsel wird in Wörter. Danach sagt man ihm, als wo geht, soll wissen, dass das der Eibster führt. Und Kedeier soll es sein, es schaut nicht wo ich schon. Soll sagen dort nach wo, Apostelkakach sind ihm sagen, und Koren Mamesh, wir sollen sich stehen, ein Kegen und Scherchen, mit der Chabe und der Simche, und der Wolle Chaim. Amen.
Elul. The Monday before that was Labor Day, and I just at 3:10 stood outside the Rebbe's room, waiting to get the siddur from the Rebbe. Those years, you get a siddur, the Rebbe would give a siddur to the chassan before he would get married. Siddur out for the chassan. And if I would have had a second to ask, I would say I'd wait till tomorrow, but this is Monday, and the chassan was Thursday night, so I could have got along tomorrow, but I wasn't given a choice. The next day, I think to myself, I don't have anything to show that I'm getting married. I didn't have the letter from the Rebbe for the chassan. I didn't get the siddur from the Rebbe. I was thinking, like, what am I going to get? Baruch Hashem, during that time, so a friend of mine went into Maskiras or whatever, and they pushed them, and finally they found the letter for the chasana. And then, just before we got into the car, he went to Maskiras, and there was a Chayil. Yeah, I mean, it's like every Yom Tov, you know, we have all the details which we know from all the different sichas of the years that we heard about it. Chayil brings the Chol on Shabbos. And from Tafshin Lamed Aleph, the Rebbe started to Farbrengen, I think it was almost every year on Chayil. I think so, Tafshin Lamed Aleph. Actually, that's not. Interesting. So for many years there was a Farbrengen from Tafshin Lamed Aleph. Basically, it was Farbrengen every year. On Chayil, there was Farbrengen. Each year has its own Elul. I had a friend who said, "I want to go to the something before. I want to go to the Rebbe before Chayil." I said, "Why? Why do you want to go before Chayil?" He says, "Because the Rebbe always sings someone." As if you know exactly when the Rebbe was going to sing someone. Since the Frierdiker was Megala, the Inyan of Gut Yom Tov on Chayil. In general, the Inyan of Chayil was known. This day exactly 80 years ago. Especially Gimel, that's Pei Gimel, so it's 80 years ago. And the fact that it's a Yom Tov, I guess that even into Malacha itself. Same explained about Purim, and even more than that is explained about Yitzchak Kislev. So I guess Chayil is probably in that same category, if I understand. And the Alter Rebbe showed how it's possible to get closer. And more than that, it's like a ladder that the Baal Shem Tov explained or placed the ladder that a Yid should be able to 3 Avos, Avos Hashem, Avos HaTorah, and Avos Yisroel. It seems like, says the Rebbe, from the continuation of that Sicha, that is the way how you get up the ladder. And the Alter Rebbe made it lichtig, made it light, so you should actually be able to go and marshal. It's an example from a story. It says there was a great Hasid of the Alter Rebbe called Rebbe Isaac Homler. Rebbe Isaac was a Rav in the city or town called Homel. And Rebbe Isaac Homler, he didn't have much patience for people who were in a lower learning standard than him. And one time he was, wherever it was, a Balagola came over to him and he asked him a question. And Rabbi Isaac Humler like screamed at him and told him a word, I can't remember the word now, a Russian word, and he belittled him, like as if he has no connection to him. The word of this got to the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe was informed, however it was, somebody told somebody else, whatever it was, the Alter Rebbe got word of the way that Rabbi Isaac Humler behaved to his simple Jew. So the Alter Rebbe called in Rabbi Isaac Humler, and he told him, I want you to know you are Am Haaretz in the Shamis. You have no understanding of the greatness of the Shamis. This Yid, with his simplicity, is way higher than you are. I can't remember all the exact words Alter Rebbe told him, but that's basically the Nekuda. And he said, Rabbi Isaac Humler said, at that moment he cut off completely his tendency to belittle other people, to mavatel other people. That went off completely. And it took him 60 years of work to get himself up to a place where he should be able to actually appreciate and understand a simple Jew, what the ma'ila is of a simple Yid. So the Frierdiker Rebbe says that this, here we see the way the Alter Rebbe made it lichtig. Pashat lit up the surroundings, you should be able to see. So sometimes you get a kind of mark, you get a bite by a mosquito or something worse than that, which he doesn't want to say. I don't know what the Frierdiker Rebbe is referring to. He says you get some kind of bite or something which, and it's hard to see. But it's dark, it's hard to get to it. The Alter Rebbe, what he did was he made lichtig, he made it light. And therefore you could immediately see where the sircha is, where the problem is, where the blemish is, and therefore it's a lot easier to fix it. It reminds me, it's a very interesting tekufa, which wasn't very well noticed. But if my memory serves me correctly, from the beginning of Tashim Mem Vav until the end of Tashim Mem Zayin, the Rebbe kocht sich from time to time in a word, in a pasuk from Daniel, which says, Yisparu, Yislabnu, Yitzorfu Rabbi. That the many things which have to be cleaned, purified, and whitened. And the few times that I remember the Rebbe saying this, the Rebbe always approached it in the same way. The Rebbe said, this bad, which we never imagined that people would get such a bad. On the other hand, the Rebbe says, there's also good. I never imagined people had such good. I remember that twice or three times that I'm remembering, each time the Rebbe started off in the bad, and then he went to the good, which I think is unusual, because usually the Rebbe would approach the good first. But the Rebbe asks, what is the reason that the bad has to be revealed? What would it hurt, or what would be the harm if we continue to, somebody wouldn't know all the bad that he has. Why does the deep hidden parts of the bad have to be revealed? And the Rebbe said, because it's a time before Mashiach comes, and everything and every single detail in the world has to be revealed. If you don't know that it's there, it's very hard to reveal it, to redeem it, to purify it, if you don't know that it's there. And therefore, each bad has to be revealed. The Rebbe said, this is in Yud Tammuz Tashim Mem Zayin, very, very interesting words. And in a sense, it didn't seem like the Rebbe was talking to us. The Rebbe says that there were G'dolei Yisroel who said they could push the Bias HaMashiach. They could push Mashiach to come. And they could have been pilot. But they were warned. You want to push it? Go ahead. The details will be lost. So, following game pratim. But they tried. They said, okay, let's try. Let's try and push Mashiach should come. So they tried. And then they see the details are getting lost. So they started like, I I guess, complaining. I don't know the Rebbe's exact word, but they started like complaining or wondering what's going on over here. So they were told, "Adosa tegi volt, adosa tegi poil." This is what you were pushing for. This is what you wanted to happen. You're saying that you want to push the Mashiach should come earlier, but details are going to get lost. And then the Rebbe says, "Tracht dich zu sich." So I think to myself, "Was darfst du sich dem reinlegen?" Why do you have to put yourself into this situation? Like, what? Who is there talking to? Like, but basically, the Rebbe is saying, the Rebbe bases himself on this pasuk many, many times. La'atem to look to le'echad beis Yisroel. That every single yid will be taken and selected, and they nimmt jeder Yid by hand. They takes every yid by his hand, and he brings them to the Geula. So therefore, every single detail, every single part of Elam Hazard, not just the Yid, but every midah of a Yid, and every detail in the world, basically, has to be refined and revealed and purified to be able to come to the Beis Mashiach. So we should happen to Korah Mamash.
Amen.
This Indian that the Alter Rebbe came to illuminate, Smachan Lichtig, reminds me of a very interesting story I heard from Rabbi Tversky here. And he said that his uncle was Rabbi Rebbe from Borough Park, he passed away 2 weeks ago. And he said that before his Hasana in Tashin Yud Dalet, he went to the Rebbe, he wanted to go to Yisroel. His father, Rabbi, was actually in Yisroel. He had a problem with getting a visa to come to America because he had just come out of Russia, and the Americans were very wary of people with Russian passports or Russian citizenship. And it made it very difficult for him to get a visa, until in the end he wasn't even able. He got a visa so close to the Hasna that he wasn't able to come by ship, and he had to come by plane. He went to Hasidus, and there's another story which the Rebbe used him to Makar V'Yid, who they had known in Russia, who the Rebbe had known and the Mastivka had known in Russia. Anyway, that's a different story. Anyway, so this Rav Mastivka Rebbe who passed away 2 weeks ago, he was a chassan, so he didn't know if his father would come in time, so he went into Hasidus by himself. He went to the Rebbe. One of the things the Rebbe was talking to him about was, the Rebbe was talking to him about learning Hasidus. And the Rebbe tried to convince him how important it is to learn Hasidus. And he was, I guess, not very receptive. So the Rebbe asks in the middle, can I speak in learning with you? Yeah, why not? So the Rebbe asks him, what are you learning? He says during the day in yeshiva, during the day he's learning Baba Basra. And at night by himself he's learning, I think it was Menachos. So the Rebbe asks him, which one are you more comfortable with? He said, Menachos. The Rebbe asked him where he's up to, told him. So the Rebbe asked him a question on the Rosh. A question, he says, which was not the Rebbe's question, it's a question which was asked. The Rebbe didn't make the question. It's asked. So, whatever. So he answered 2 answers, which are written in different places. 2 answers. The Rebbe himself gave another 2 answers. Then the Rebbe knocked off all 4 answers. And the Rebbe showed him how without Hasidus you cannot answer this kasha. He said, and what I understood from Rabbi Trotsky here, that he didn't really remember, years later, he didn't write it down, but he didn't remember all the details of the question and the answer. But what impressed him more than anything was that he saw the Rebbe was ready to do this in a whole shas. Just wherever he would have said, the Rebbe was ready to do the same thing. So that's what impressed him the most. You see this Indian of the Rebbe, like everything in Nigla, the only way you can understand it is through Hasidus. The oil, the light, it actually reminds me, just by the way, but it's a very interesting story of the Alter Rebbe, which is quite similar. I told you at first, it reminds me of this story. He says, yeah, him too. It's a very interesting story. There was a Hasid of the Alter Rebbe who had a son who was an Elul, a genius. But this boy had one problem. He was a Balgaiva. He held it himself very much. And he used to show off with his learning. So the father asked Alter Rebbe for a bracha for him. There's such guidance, such pride. So the Alter Rebbe said, next time you come, bring him with. Okay, so next time he came to Alter Rebbe, they brought his son with. Not sure how old he was then. The story was 10, 11, 12, I'm not sure. Whatever, was a genius. And when he goes into the Alter Rebbe asks him, "Kannst lernen? Do you know how to learn?" He says, "Yeah." So the Alter Rebbe asks him a kasha in learning. He says, "A good kasha?" He says, "Yeah." "Do you have an answer?" He says, "No." So the Alter Rebbe said, the Alter Rebbe told him an answer. The Alter Rebbe answers the answer. So so Alter Rebbe says, "No, it's a good answer." He says, "Yeah." "Do you have a kasha on the answer? Could you knock it off?" He says, "No." So the Alter Rebbe asked the question and knocked off his answer. And so the Alter Rebbe did a few times, backwards and forwards, question and answer. So then the Alter Rebbe tells him, "Vima Zokter Azeh is good, constant learning. However you tell you that's good, you can't learn. You don't have to learn." And with that, the Alter Rebbe knocked off his gaiva. But he continued to learn, but just his gaiva was knocked. Years later, when he had grown up, one time he came to the Alter Rebbe, and the Alter Rebbe showed him a question, a certain shaila, which the Marami Rottenberg, who's a Rishon, answers the question. And it's a very weak proof from the Gemara. So the Alter Rebbe asks him, do you have any other proof as an answer for this psak din of the Marami Rottenberg? He says, yeah. And he came up with 5 proofs from Shas, which were like strong proofs. The Alter Rebbe himself came up with another 6. So altogether they had 11 strong proofs. So the Alter Rebbe says, if we have 11 strong proofs from Shas, why does the Maram Rottenberg bring such a weak proof? And the Alter Rebbe started one by one, the Alter Rebbe started knocking off every single proof that they brought. But he showed how the proof which the Maram Rottenberg brought, there's no way to knock it off. Then the Alter Rebbe says to him like this, do you think that the Maram Rottenberg first thought through the other 11 proofs, knocked them off, and then decided to come to this weak answer? No. He went straight to this answer. Because by the Rishonim, the light of Torah was so bright that they went directly to the right answer. The Rebbe brings an example for this in the Sikha. The Rebbe explains what was the light, what do you mean the light of the Rishonim was so bright? He says, Lamashal, if somebody's in a room without any lights, it's very dark. He looks for a way to get out. He doesn't know, he starts tapping around. He feels an opening. He tries to measure, is this a window, is this a door? He doesn't know. What happens if the light's on? We go to the door. We don't go to the window because you can see. So the Rishonim, their way of learning their light was in such a way that they saw directly the correct answer, and they didn't have to tap avant, as they say in Yiddish. They didn't have to go tapping along to try and find the right answer. You see how the light was by the Rishonim. But in those times, it wasn't necessarily yet to learn Hasidus. So Hasidus wasn't revealed in those generations. But nowadays, when we come to a point when the darkness in the world, so therefore the darkness is so big, it's possible to have mentioned many times. So it's such a big darkness in the world, therefore we have to learn Hasidus. So the days of Elul came to illuminate the world with the light of Hasidus. That is what we have to do. We have to try and bring in Hasidus into every aspect of our life, to learn Nigla, to learn Hasidus. We're just a few days after a celebration of Tesvav Elul, which is establishment of Techet Mimim. And Chayil is a day which they say they're actually started in Techet Mimim. And the Maila of Techet Mimim, the Rebbe Sham said there's no shortage of yeshivas at that time. But the main thing is to fuse together the learning of Hasidus and learning of Nigla in such a way that they learn Hasidus with the same clarity, the same clarity as the learning of Nigla. There was a few times, one time when I was in postal for quite a number of years, and Shliach quite close, Rabbi Moshe Feller, he was at the start, came to Farbrengen us once or twice, and he told an interesting thing. He said, there are different things, different mices that she told him. One thing he says interesting, I think he said there was a letter from the Rebbe to the Beryl Baumgarten, who was a shliach in Argentina. So brother remember Baumgarten, he used to live here. He doesn't have any children here on Crown Heights, I don't think, Beryl. I say one daughter. His daughter, Rebbe Rama Lipster, is his daughter.
Shalom Bar, help.
Anyway, that's different.
Shalom Bar, no, is it right?
Anyway, so Rebbe Baumgarten, I think, got a letter from the Rebbe. And the Rebbe said to him, how can you daven without learning, if I remember correctly, this is what Rabbi Feller said, without learning at least 5 minutes Hasidus. Now, I'm not sure if the diuk of 5 minutes was from Rabbi Feller or if that's actually said in the Rebbe's letter. But it really hit me because, everybody knows you have to learn an hour Hasidus before davening, half hour Hasidus, at least 20 minutes, 15 minutes. But, it's not always doable. We know that.
You ate it with Tanya?
I didn't say Yitzu. We're talking about
No,
learning.
Tanya's,
I have another mic about that, but give me a second.
Yeah.
Remind me. But 5 minutes, doesn't take a 5 minutes to learn anything. But 5 minutes, I thought to myself, you know what? 5 minutes is doable. I'm not making a chlota because I can't make a chlota. So I make a chlotas, it never works out. I'm not doing a chlotas, I'm just doing it. And Baruch Hashem, for 12 years, I did it day by day. At one time, mamash, almost every day. The word days I did a roy for 5 minutes, instead of mamash, full 5 minutes. But it's amazing how much you get to. I push the keep it safer inside my towel's bag. And every day, 5 minutes. After I have to say, unfortunately, a few years ago, I said, Kaddish, my father, it's very hard to adapt yourself to a minion and do this, but whatever has to rough for it. Still, I try and do it as much as I can. Lean other every single day. It's amazing amount you manage to get through. Well, I go through things I wanted to get through, other Tafshin Ches, and through Tafshin Aleph, and through Torah go to Torah a very lot. So just 5 minutes a day. It's amazing how much you manage to get through. This is in a certain sense like an anchor. It's hard to explain. When you do 5 minutes a day at least, David Shalom, you should do more. Shabbos you do more, and so on. But it's like an anchor. It makes you feel like this is my connection. This is at least 5 minutes a day. Talking about Shir Tanya, I just want to tell you my share of the Gurkhav's magazine. He told me that the first year he was here for some chastayim by the Rebbe, especially in Tezvav. The Rebbe was in the shul upstairs. The Rebbe came down from the Suda in the Friedrich's apartment. And he said all those the first few years, the Rebbe used to dance with the whole Olam. The Rebbe used to do that before Tafshin Yud, and even after Tafshin Yud, the Rebbe continued to dance with the whole Olam. This Tafshin Tezvav, the Rebbe came down into the shul from upstairs from the Friedrich's apartment. He came to the shul, which is now the upstairs shul. That was the shul. The Rebbe came in, and they had already a Sefer Torah ready to give to the Rebbe. So the Rebbe took a Sefer Torah. He said the shul was empty. There was no furniture in there, only people. They took out everything for a office. The bima was there, and he said the Rebbe took a Sefer Torah and he danced a half a circle until he got to the window on the other side. He gave the Sefer Torah to somebody else. There was a chair there. There was a chair near the window. The Rebbe got up on the chair, pulled out the bottle of mashka, and said he's going to give l'chaim to anyone who accepts on himself to learn a Haisofa and Hasidus every day. So, when people started coming over there, we gave him mashka. So he says, 2 people were talking just outside the door. The Rebbe said it was impossible, the Gashmias, that the Rebbe should be able to hear them. But one says to the other, well, I learned Shir Tanya every day anyway, because you learn us. I learned Shir Tanya anyway. He said immediately inside, the Rebbe announced, I don't mean a Shir Tanya, I mean a Haisofa and Hasidus. So that's the answer to your question.
Yeah. Now you know the answer.
Time.
I knew the answer. I wasn't sure what it was. Time it up.
Getting close to Tishrei, but Chayil, for instance, watch a video of Chayil Tashim and Beis. See the Rebbe coming into Farbrengen, so serious. He turns to the Khan. There's three fingers, the right Lewis, sing a song. This is a mimer, and you can see Atem Selvin. Atem and Hayim goes on Shoshana. There's a very serious seriousness. Chayil, in a sense, is more, I can't say more, but it's different. You see really the whole, they say it works from they say in the name of the Rebbe. The Rebbe eunuch once asked the Rebbe, and the Rebbe had had pain in a foot. Well, one of the early years. And the Rebbe eunuch says to the Rebbe, it seems like that it must cause the Rebbe a lot of pain. So the Rebbe said, my man hat nicht mehr for a beter, hat mehr for Rosh Hashanah. My husband is not afraid of the pain, he's afraid of Rosh Hashanah. You can see that pain, the seriousness of the Rebbe for Rosh Hashanah. I remember different, in a sense I'm happy that I wasn't born here. I wish I would have, so I would see more, but on the other hand, you appreciate more when you weren't here and then you come. As a visitor, you appreciate more in a sense because everything is new and everything is fresh. And especially in Chasteiras, I was here 10 years later, and I'm sure many of you hear a lot more than that. But, it stands out. And I remember with the way I looked at Chasteiras before, it was so different. So all these kind of things have a different impression. And I say Rabbi Castell, it reminds me of the very first time I was here. I came with my father before Sukkot, Tashim Lamed Vogel. I'll actually tell you the first 24 hours I was here, because it's quite interesting. We arrived the day after Yom Kippur.
What year is this?
Tashim Lamed Vogel.
How old are you?
How old was I? 14. And as soon as we got to the airport, somebody came to pick us up, and they said, the Rebbe went to the oil, and you've already gone home, so you're not going to see the Rebbe tonight. Instead of davening at 9:30, the Rebbe davening from the Rebbe went home. But so the next day, it was Wednesday, so you see the Rebbe by Mincha. And that night, between the night between Yud Beis and Yom Tishrei was Hasidus. So my father went over to Rebbe Klein and says, could you go to Yeshivas? So his retort was, you just came, you already want to go to Yeshivas? And I didn't know, but years later I found out there was a hero from the Rebbe about that. Before you go to Yeshivas, first of all you have to be by a Farbrengen. Like the previous Rabbi, it was well known at first Maimer and then Yeshivas. In fact, the famous Yeshivas of the four Bachrim who went into the Friedrich Rebbe the last week before the Friedrich Rebbe's Histalkus. It was David Raskin, the Berl Yunik, the Vidalia Korf, and the Shalom Arazim. They went to Yeshivas, I think it was Sunday, if I was right, Dalet Shvat. Yudis Shabbos, or what's Sunday? Dalet Shvat. We went to Yeshivas that Sunday. They had arrived before Shabbos. So they asked if they can go into Yeshivas. And they were told after Shabbos. I think the Friedrich Rebbe answered after Shabbos. This is right after Shabbos. So he said, Shabbos, they would explain by someone, Ultra Chassid explained, Shabbos, the Rebbe's up to Maimer. So therefore, first comes the Hasidus and then Yeshivas. The Friedrich Rebbe wasn't saying a Maimer about that. What we hear is one thing. But Shabbos is the inyan of Hasidus, and therefore, first comes Maimer, and then Yeshivas. You're going after Shabbos. That's how somebody explained. One Chassidim, it's probably written somewhere, I can't remember who it was. Anyway, so Rabbi Yomi Klein tells my father, you just came, you really want Yeshivas. In the end, I didn't have Yeshivas that year because we left the day after Yisroel. And that year was the first time that the Rebbe went to the oil on Chol Moed. There was already an idea that he's going to the oil the day after Simchas Torah. There's no Yeshivas and there's no way I could change my flight. So me and my father, a few people, there's no way to change my flight. So clearly we didn't have Yeshivas, but because of that, I was like to come the next year for the whole picture. Anyway, so Thursday morning, the Gimel Tishrei, said the Rebbe's minyan officially was 9:30. I mean, the Rebbe's minyan. The Rebbe used to come out to Shachris, but the minyan was 9:30. 10 o'clock, they waited like for a few, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds. Seemed to me more like out of honor than expecting the Rebbe to come, because everybody knew that after Yeshivas, the Rebbe would not come at 10 o'clock in those years. So, all right, after davening around the Bachrim were discussing, they would say usually after Yeshivas the Rebbe would come at 1 o'clock. But because the Rebbe has to go to the Oil, to Gimel Tishrei, therefore Mistama the Rebbe will come at 12. They were talking right. Okay, a friend of mine tells me, don't listen to Chris up here now. You come when the Rebbe comes, you'll be part of the minyan. Okay. So 12 o'clock, the Rebbe arrived from his house. So we all went to the Yanyan Atachten. But the grown saw there's too many people around. There's too full. So he said, oh, we'll make Chris Torah in the Zal. Okay, we went to the Zal. And only two people had seen Goimel there, my cousin, Naftali Cohen, and myself. And he went over, he said Goimel. And I went over after. It's the first time in my life I'm saying Goimel. I'm holding a sitter. And in the middle of the bracha, I feel very strong eyes on me. I'm standing here, and the Rebbe's on the side of the river, right over here. And I feel very strong eyes on me. So I made a mistake. I picked up my eyes. I look at the Rebbe. I can't explain the dread, fear. Like as if somebody stuck a knife into my stomach. I never felt anything like it. Such a fear. And for some reason, I don't know why, I just couldn't take my eyes down. I believe the word Sheg Malami, in such a situation, is a long word. I stumbled over that word, I don't know, 5-6 times. I just couldn't get the word out. In the end, the Rebbe looked down, and I looked back into the Siddur, Sheg Malami Toiv, and I walked back. And then I found out the pshat in the pasuk, What does it mean? Your knees are knocking together. I never felt such a fear, not before. Because after that, I never looked. If the Rebbe was looking at me, I never looked back. I always looked down. Question Lamed Vav.
The second?
No, first time.
The first time. You count.
What?
Cup, the cup.
And then the Rebbe went to the Ayel. The Rebbe came back from the Ayel. So he davened Mincha and Meir. Mincha, and then there was a break, and then Meir. So between that and then it went on till the end of Tashin and Baal. Elul, Tashin and Baal, that changed. So after Mincha, the Rebbe's Mediyah, it was going to be a short Farbrengen after Meir. Short Farbrengen. So, well, it's just like gathering together. People start coming for Farbrengen. So I was standing, my friend gave me a place at the end of the table opposite the Rebbe. My father sat down on the table right close to where I was. He says to me, you know, it's starting to look like the pictures now. For those years, there was no videos, it didn't exist, I don't think. I'd never seen a film of the Rebbe at that time. But the Rebbe comes in, the Rebbe knocks to the Yisroel car, starts Farbrengen. I see an old man stand up and start going like this, directing the song. So, I asked who's that? His name is Rebbe Lieberman, and he's Rebbe Futfuss's brother. Okay, whatever that means, but later I found out. He left Russia, so he changed his name. No, he was Rebbe's brother. Remember, I knew he lived in London for years. Anyway, they started Maimer, Masachas after the Maimer, so somebody gives me L'chaim. It's the first time. I say L'chaim to the Rebbe. It's the first time saying L'chaim, and I don't know if the Rebbe is answering to me or to somebody else. I see the Rebbe nodding in my direction. And I see the Rebbe nodding in my direction, but I don't know if it's to me or not. The Rebbe nods again, I'm still not sure. Then the Rebbe smiled. Suddenly it felt like it was to me. Of course, everybody turned around, who's the Rebbe smiling at? No, it's the only time I like the Rebbe smiling. I'll tell you why I'm saying it. It was years later, in Tafshin Nun. I was here with my family for Pesach. And after Pesach, that time, the week after Pesach, the Rebbe was giving dollars a lot of times during that week. And this one day after Mincha, the Rebbe gave out dollars. So I go to the Rebbe, I'm holding my daughter. She was two something. And I go to the Rebbe, so the Rebbe smiles at her. So I started smiling, I knew the Rebbe's not smiling to me, I just smiled at happiness that the Rebbe was smiling to my daughter. As soon as I smiled, it was like a switch, the Rebbe became immediately serious. Immediately. I said to myself, next time just control yourself. A day or two later, the Rebbe again gave out dollars. And the Rebbe smiled to her, and I, with all my koyach, stay serious. The Rebbe smiled to her. I was backing off. Maybe I got all the way almost to the bima. The Rebbe was looking at her and smiling as I'm backing away. Anyway, that's why I knew the Rebbe doesn't smile to me. So, I'm not saying it's not saying. What? Yeah, good idea. Fine. Anyway, the old Tishri that time, especially on the Dwell, during Farbrengen, the Rebbe was talking, maybe it was the first time it was, not the first time the Rebbe said it, but the way, in that way the Rebbe said it. The Rebbe was doing very much, people should go, he was sameach people in other cities and other places during Chol, especially guests who come from different places to show that Yidden and Balabas, wherever they are, it's not like a person feels he's a guest, he has no right to talk. A Yid is a Balabas wherever he goes, and he's has to show this authority or this responsibility wherever he goes. Therefore, guests should go everywhere in Farbrengen. So, or he's told us like.
Hey, he's coming back. Just one.
Now, this is why I remind myself of this. So the next morning after Farbrengen, so I went with my father after where it was in the morning. We went to the Tzach office, went to Rebbe Castel. So he said, so you're here to register for Chol Hamoed? says, now how do you know that? He says, why else would somebody come into the office early this morning? And he wrote it down and went to a few places. One of the places we went to, the Rebbe Mentlik, he was in the car, Yisroel was driving, and Rebbe Mentlik was in the car. So my father gets into the car, Rebbe Mentlik says, Shalom Aleichem. And he says a little sheepishly, a little embarrassedly, he says, Do in 770, sagt man Shalom Aleichem, al Teischem Shalom, the Zoltan. You hear in 770, you say, Shalom Aleichem, you say hello and goodbye at the same time. We're like, you don't always notice, because I know there's a lot of guests, and it's hard to notice everybody and say Shalom Aleichem.
He said he found it.
Yeah, Rebbe Mentlik said. Actually, in the middle of the driving, Rebbe Mentlik got a little nervous. He's going through every red light and whatever. But I meant myself, the drive that way.
You want to take an Uber?
Where was this drive to?
I can't remember exactly where we went. One of the places we went to
Oh, you were saying
Long
Columbus?
Island. One place we went to Long Island, another place we went to. That was the year when it poured.
With?
It poured. It rained from the second night of Sukkot until Shmini Atzeres.
Herr, jetzt all about battle, that's Nickel Farbrengen, also wie Hasidus Farbrengen, you don't have to be like exactly perfect, you Hasidus Farbrengen.
I'm already getting this like, that's my time, it's before I
Okay, just saying, you should know now, you know, it's just the friend of Heinrich.
This is the invitation as well. This is by for sure.
No, I'm just saying. Shut the video also, if you also might not have an idea.
I'm not mixing it.
Isaiah was a big time talking very close with the Rebbe. That's one thing. Isaiah was a small Chassid, but he was quite a Rebbe Rishal. We went to the Rebbe Rishal. The Rebbe Rishal for a month by him to learn Hasidus. So Isaiah said, but it says that before you learn Torah, you have to increase in Boli, you have to be every time you know Boli to talk about the Muslim. So how could I undertake such a thing? So the way I heard the story is the Rebbe Rishal said, I'm trying to cry this. You just learn Hasidus, and I'll take responsibility. Then I heard a second story, which was just with the Rebbe. The Rebbe wanted to tell them, he said, Zoya. Don't face. So he says, he used the same argument. He said, hey, we put Molly in a body, how can I undertake something like this?
What was the argument?
If we, increase it for Moscow, how do you put it out 20 minutes? So the Rebbe said, look, Isaiah was written for people to learn. If you're not going to learn it, who's going to learn it? Then I heard, Isaiah took it very seriously, because I heard in Yisroel, I said he used to have a shiur Friday night. Moshe Shabbos, the Stolen used to come to him, and the Stolen used to come to him Friday night. So they came to him like normal. They came once with Shabbos Bereshis. And then he knocked on the door, he opened the door, and he said, do you know what today is? Shabbos Bereshis. There's 100 pages of Zohar, 100 pages of Rebbe's Rabbi. I have no time for you. Slam the door and they'll go home. So I guess he took it seriously, the Zohar thing.
Mashpir, why did the Baal Shem Tov, why did Baal Shem Tov insist not to see the Alter Rebbe? What was the thing? I'm asking you because you were there.
Right.
Why are you sitting in the bleachers? I said, come close.
The video has to stop. There's no video about Farbrengen. So there's no thing with the video. I can't say half the things I want to say.
Thank God.
I think that's never stopped you before.
They say that one time Rabbi Shmuel Levittin was in by the Rebbe, and he came out and he was white. I think it was Rabbi Shmuel Levittin, I'm almost sure. He came out and he was white. And he's like, so then the Ron was like, what's wrong? What are you? He was like shocked what the Rebbe told him.
But the Rebbe shot him.
No, the Rebbe said, why didn't he the Eved, whatever, and the exact Lashon was, he's happy he didn't see the Rebbe shop because it would have disturbed his kashrus to the Friedrich Rebbe. They say it was I saw this written, but I don't think it's no, it's not the Rebbe's mother's writing, it's somebody else wrote it in her name. He said when the Rebbe's mother came out of Russia, so one of the things she gave the Rebbe was a gartel from the Tzemach Tzedek. It come down in the family. The Rebbe's father had it. The Rebbe's father writes in the letter to the Rebbe before the Chasna that I wish that you could have had the gartel. Machshava Toiva, you know, because they couldn't give it. But that was the thing she brought out and she gave to him. The Chagav is her interesting point. Zelig Aronov told me his father, Mendel Aronov helped the Rebbe Tzachana in Poki. At one point he helped her schlep the suitcases. So when the Rebbe met his mother in Paris, the Rebbe was asking for all the details. So he mentioned that the Mendel Aronov helped him schlep the suitcases, helped her schlep the suitcases. So I don't know whose comment this was, if it was the Rebbitzins or it was the Rebbe's. But the comment was made, Nestam hat nicht gewusst, dort liegt der Garten von Tzemach Tzedek.
Wow, that's good.
Anyway, so I read from someone, I can't remember who it was, that when the Rebbitzin, the Rebbe's mother, gave the Rebbe the Tzemach Tzedek's gartel, we can understand the way the Rebbe received something from his mother, and his attitude to his mother, and the Rebbe's smartness in general, and the Edelkeit, and the Rebbitzin. We have no idea going there, and nevertheless, the Rebbitzin write or said to this person, at that point, when she gave him the Tzemach Tzedek's gartel, habe ich gesehen, als ein ganzen der Schwers, as nicht the Tapas. At that point I saw he belongs to the Shver and not to the father. In other words, if in any case, way or something, we can't judge these things, if in any case there's any kind of contradiction, I doubt very much it was a contradiction, but if there's anything between a derech of the father and a derech of the Friedrich Rebbe, it was the Friedrich Rebbe. His kashrus was completely with the Friedrich Rebbe. The fact that he said that in a way he's happy that he didn't see the Rebbe Hashem. There's a sichel from the Friedrich Rebbe telling him.
I heard it from Leibel Grunner. I understand the story from Leibel Grunner.
Could be.
A little different.
No, he told him as soon as he came out of the Yishivas. Reb Shmuel told him as soon as he came out of the Yishivas. You say, why, what do we know why he didn't see? But it's interesting. The Alter Rebbe didn't see the Baal Shem Tov.
He started saying there was a letter from the Friedrich Rebbe to the Rebbe. There was a letter who started saying there's a letter from the Friedrich Rebbe to the Rebbe.
It wasn't he didn't see, it was behalten. The Baal Shem Tov was said he
saw it.
You know what it is? It's going to find
He did see the Baal Shem Tov.
No,
But they kept him from him.
Yeah,
right away, take that.
not as a talent.
I think you were saying about the Friedrich Rebbe says it's a shame that you never saw my phone.
Right, that's right. There's a sichel from Friedrich Rebbe. So I showed you didn't see. This I showed Achmanas. You didn't see my father.
But then the Alter Rebbe had a tiny to his Rebbe, Yisroel Dave. Why didn't he take him to the Rebbe? He was a Talmud Muvak, basically.
Right. There's a Talmud. Yeah, something there was a Talmud. Generally, each Rebbe saw two Rebbes before him. Generally, each Rebbe saw two Rebbes before him, besides Alter Rebbe and the Rebbe. There's another interesting comparison also. The Alter Rebbe did not write his own Torahs, and the Rebbe did not write his own Torahs.
Oh, the Noach from the Hasidus.
The Rebbe didn't write. The only Rebbe didn't write. The Alter Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe was Tam. Besides that, Maimorim,
Besides for the Rebbe, who else didn't write
the
your own?
Alter Rebbe didn't write his own Maimorim.
What do you mean, Tanya?
Yeah, but not Maimorim.
Oh, not
Maimorim,
the
the Seder Masuda, the Alter Rebbe did not write. Okay, the Alter Rebbe had money. The Mittler Rebbe, Tzemach Tzedek, the Pinchas Reizes, yeah.
So what was all the kiss for Yad of Alter Rebbe on?
There's not so many Kissi on the Alter Rebbe.
No?
Even Tanya, the different Maduras are copies, they're not the Alter Rebbe itself.
In Torah, there's no Maimorim.
There is one big Maimorim, Chaisara, no
Yeah,
Lashon Rabbi Levatzma, yeah.
Is that the Lashon or it's
Well, I say there's one Maimor that he wrote. There were a few things that the Rebbe wrote also, in general, that the Rebbe did write. The Alter Rebbe did not.
in the beginning, the Rebbe didn't start writing the Maimorim. In the beginning, he didn't write.
Right away, the Rebbe told Rebbe to write down right away. If you want to get into a Yitrat Farbrengen instead of Chayel,
It's all the same to me.
But you mean,
A glass of mashka, a glass of
but even Ma'amorim, the only
Rebbe says that after the first
No,
Maimor,
she's not coming down there. That's like too far.
so the first Maimor, the Chazer, and the Chazer, the second Maimor the Rebbe said was Yigimel Shvat. Second Maimor the Rebbe said was Shabbos Yigimel Shvat. said that the Rebbe's crying on Yud Gimel Shvat was even worse, more, however you want to say, than the first Maimer. It was very, very hard to
It was
get.
on Shabbos?
Shabbos. It was
The whole
very,
year,
very hard
before
to
the whole
get.
year touching it, the whole year that was trying to bring.
Yeah, but I'm saying the Maimer.
Yeah.
So the Rebbe asked Yisroel at that point, whatever, the next week, if he's going to give in a hanacha of the Maimar, of the Chal hanacha, he's written down. So he says the Rebbe means the sichas. So the Rebbe said Maimar Leichel. And I don't repeat myself.
I want to ask you a question about this
Yeah,
question
I'm
about
still
Alter
talking.
Rebbe. Oh, we can't. Oh, you have a microphone.
You have to wait your turn.
Nail it. They
Let me finish one story, I go to the
They
next
said that as if you see the Baal Shem Tov will bring the ganze Welt. What's that mean?
Then I don't know.
You don't remember that?
That part of it.
I think they may be overpaying you.
Rebbe,
for this
let me
video.
finish one story, I'll get the next one.
People in the video want to see you.
So the Rebbe asked Rabbi if he wrote down the hanacha. So he says the Rebbe means the sichas. So the Rebbe said Maimarim also. So Maimarim, I don't know, but kennst nicht. This is nacher. This is it's not good. Shabbos like a Maimer, noch area. So the Rebbe said, what's this? As if from Ashke genommen, and he took some Ashke away. Can't you do the Shabbos like a Maimer? And the Rebbe says he was hoping that the Rebbe would write. Was the Lashon Arois Geben Biksav. That was the Lashon by the previous Rebbe. The Rebbe said, "Du schreib was the kennst, and the Nachal will gesagt. You do what you can. I'll see what I'll do later." The Poil, the Vassal Gani came out will cover the Yudal Fnissen. Before the Rebbe actually gave it, the Rebbe was like and before he actually gave it out to print, the Rebbe took it to the oil, and the Rebbe read the whole line in there, and then he gave it to print. I don't remember when the date on the Shabbos Beganim is, but also there was maybe at that night. Just to give you a dogma of a brand for Hasidus, the Moshe Dubinsky begged the Rebbe to be Magia the Maime of Paslagami Toshin Yud Beis. So the Rebbe asked him, the Maime from Fayon, kennst du? You know last year's Maime? He said, yeah. So the Rebbe was Magia the Maime Toshin Yud Beis. Came Toshin Yud Gimel, he was already afraid to ask again. But there was Magia Toshin Yud Gimel, and then it stopped. So he thought there was going to get Magia every Vaslagami, but it stopped. That was the next point you said?
Me, I wanted to know about Farbrengen the Welt.
That's with Michael Potska.
No, but I'm obsessed with what exactly would be the problem with Alter Rebbe.
Is it written somewhere?
Little Rabbi Castell, what do you remember from Amal? What's the name?
Baal Shem Tov?
I was there together with Kozheminsky.
Kozheminsky, the Welt felt Kozheminsky. I have loved this mit so going good. Kyle. Nu the Turk and Nigan. All night.
This I can tell you. It says in the Rishimus, it's very interesting. About Yitzhak Kislev. It says about Yitzhak Kislev that sent Rabbi Yaakov Smilyan to the Baal Shem Tov to bring a pan. Now before, when we had Sefer told us, it didn't say the name of the Shliach, but the Rebbe writes in his Rishimus there was a Rabbi Yaakov Smilyan. And he came to the Barditchever. First it says that the Alter Rebbe told him, gave him a pan, and told him to be mechoykik the oisius, I think the nafshi or something like that. He should mamash be mechoykik the oisius. He should remember it. Make sure he remembers every single letter inside that pond. Of course, when he got to Berditchev, he realized the pond was lost. He was chaytik every word, so he told the pond to Berditchev. Now this between this nusach and the nusach in the Rishonos is interesting, because the differences over there.
What year is this?
Because there it says, Tov Nun Tes.
Okay.
So when he came, in the Sefer HaTolos it says, when he came into the Berditchev heard that the Alter Rebbe was arrested, he fell down on the floor. It doesn't say that in the Rishonos. It says that the Berditchev was before davening and he was smoking his pipe. So he said, Midem, Lulka, with this pipe I could burn the whole Peterburg. So Yaakov Smiliano, with all his upsetness and all his, you can imagine his emotion, the fact that the Alter Rebbe was arrested, it's Changino, he took Koyach and he said, Berditchev Rav, he didn't call him Rebbe, Berditchev Rav, unser Rebbe is a Reisische Rebbe, Moichi, Chochma bin Adasar, unser Rebbe is a Reisische Rebbe, it's a Rebbe from Russia. So Berditchev looks at him and says, give a cook, and was good, Atata Ona Mama. Take a look at a Hasidus, it's good for him to have a father without a mother. In other words, he doesn't need the Edelkeit. Then Berditchev went to Mikveh, and he was oil, whatever he's supposed to be, oil over there. But they knew the whole Indian is the Alter Rebbe doesn't want Peterburg to be burnt. The Rebbe Rashab also says in the Sikha. Baruch Hashem.
He's masking to go.
Yeah, it says more than that. It says Baruch Hashem that Peterburg is given Tovkuf Nun Tes and not Tovkuf Men Tes.
That's fire.
Because before that, we probably had Talmidim would have burnt down Peterburg, and this doesn't Kavanah. Kavanah is not to burn the world down. Kavanah is to work with the world to elevate and purify, which is exactly what we spoke before. The every single thing, every single detail in the world has to be elevated. So the Rebbe sends shluchim all over the world to make sure. Just an hour.
This computer up there.
So the purpose is to make sure that every single detail in the world gets elevated.
This one thing we have to make a chayal naya water for the naya that there's no excuse that you can stay home and you got this. And stay home and you got this and not go to Farbrengen because you have a video of it so you can watch it online.
Some people in California are watching.
Okay, for those people will have a small little computer.
What was the last word you said?
No, I'm niggin. Chicken, I'm niggin. No, it's not niggin.
Every single detail in the world has to be elevated.
It's a perfect.
So that's such shluchim all the world.
Today, and I said, if I don't say chocolate, this was better. I tell him, Hergish, I help us with that Farbrengen. If I didn't say chocolate, I didn't come to Farbrengen. Not the sounds of things only. Something can talk to them, there's almost like this is every day. I have love it. Chassidim, all Chassidim come from the Baal Shem Tov. The Chassidim, Baal Shem Tov, Pelin, Chabad, all stammen from Baal Shem Tov. But in Chabad, Dafke is the Ingen for Farbrengen. Pelin hat nicht kein Farbrengen. Mit der Malke, mit der Tisch, mit der Concert, whatever they have there. Mit Shirayim, aber hat nicht kein Farbrengen. I said, how you talking? Why? No more. Never L'chaim. We're going to go L'chaim. Never L'chaim. Is it done? Is it done L'chaim?
No, that's...
They forget about the Mashmi.
Say by allowed
They got the words in.
Say by allowed Farbrengen, you want to know what other people do.
No, the answer's like this. It's very simple, but very deep. Very simple, very deep. Thanksgiving was gemeint, aber das Atzma is out to Rebbe. And all the Rebbe from Poland, so Tzaddik Melissa, Yirmi, Yechaya, it's the Shai for them. Hey, they should give a little stuff, everything, they should be good, they should have a grace of flesh of Shabbos, and give stuck of a question learning, turn on learning. Shai, what are you asking? Man for say that the Baal Shem Tov Zachen, Zit Shai. Good saying the fight scene, the best is the grace the rest of all stuff. But Alei came in it. We'll do it for them. After that is Mechadish. Aber it's hard for them. Tell Alei. Like they came flagrant bosom. What must be the hardest part of the Farbrengen, Basalagani? Like they came flagrant bosom. What? Alei gave me the right to know. No, I'm not going to help. I'm going to help you, but I'm not doing it. You're doing it yourself. No excuses. No excuses. Yeah, one of the things about the Rebbe I noticed, little I was there, that the Rebbe never accepted any excuses. You can't. There's no such thing you can't. You're going to do because I told you to do it. You can go. You can't go. I don't like going. I don't like going to Mitzrayim. I don't like doing it. I think it's weird. I don't want to ask someone, excuse me, sir, are you Jewish? Are you not? I'm not interested. I don't want to be intrusive. But you're doing it because hey, so you can do it, man. I got softly. All of a sudden, my grace. Someone told me that the Rebbe made from a ganz adult from like about London. Grace said something tzlachem. This guy's a shliach, a millionaire shliach. He has millionaire friends. He barely could say his name without making greisen. But there's no, you can. So he says, but with the shaylas like this, Alain, Kevin Alain, there's a name. With that Alain, I'm going to get it Alain. He goes, Chassidish Shavon. Chassidish Shavon. That's Hasidus medicine. So we're not losing the Farbrengen. We're losing what the kavanah for the Alter Rebbe was. The Alter Rebbe was that would have turn away, but it's not going to you can't turn away. So you have to have a Chassidish Farbrengen. So if you don't have a Farbrengen, then we need turn away. So that's why it's very important to have a Chassidish Farbrengen. Give us mashpia. It's a Gemara cup. That's not a Gemara cup for them. Das ist was the kavanah to give a marshal to verstehen. You have to grab a finger in Chassidish Farbrengen.
You remind me of a story, it was interesting. I'll tell you a story which, I don't know. Listen, I tell stories.
Tell stories?
That's the way I work, I tell stories. It's a story I heard. It's different as the story.
I'm happy that you heard it because other people make up stories.
I heard one from Mendel Futzvos. Okay. Maybe it's right to you, I shouldn't say that. There's one time by Mendel's Farbrengen, Bacher there, whatever, he took too much mashkin, he was talking, didn't stop. So Mendel says, you remind me there was once a kid who was talking and talking. He always used to talk, and he never stopped talking. And he's talking to someone in the middle, he says, I once heard, and the other guy interrupts him and says, you're a liar. I didn't tell you what I heard. He says, you don't let anyone else talk. And you say you heard from someone else.
Very good. Now I see this unnuggle.
Like a story I heard from
of course.
Everything can be transmitted like a story. Therefore, I didn't say it.
I told you something.
Fine.
Funny
story I heard. Heard it from Noach Ashkenazi. You heard it from Zelig Slonim. You heard it from Rebbe Tzemivka.
Rebbe Tzemivka, Alain?
Is that close enough for you? Noach Ashkenazi told me he heard it from Zelig Slonim. I heard it from Rebbe Tzemivka. Rebbe Marash traveled around, and one time it bechayev with Tzemach Tzedek.
Yeah.
Rebbe Marash traveled, he was in Belz. So he saw, it's a well-known story basically, but there's one or two details which are a little different. So he traveled to Belz, and he was there. It was I think it was a Rosh Chodesh, whatever. There was a tish. It was a weekday. There was a tish over there. I think it was a Rosh Chodesh, whatever it was. The Rebbe Rash wanted to hide himself, so he was wearing clothes he says from Asoicher. And the Sar Shalom of Belz was Saginor, so if you know, couldn't see. So whenever he'd come in, they would make a path for him. So he comes inside, and he starts pushing through the crowd. He starts pushing through the crowd. And nobody, they would make place for him, they don't know where he's going. And finally he reaches their Marash. He grabs hold of their Marash, and he says, "You demand from me about you don't have to." So one of his Shamoshim said, "Ez lacha soicher." So he said, "Yeah, you told Sachar closer." And he took him by the hand, and he led him to the head table, sat him down next to him. In the middle of the tish, in the middle of the tish, the Sar Shalom asks the Rebbe Marash to eat something because he wants to eat his shira. Sar Shalom wants to eat the Rebbe Marash's shira. So the Rebbe Marash said, "By top of it, my father doesn't have that minute." Now I was very medayik on this lashon, and I asked him over because I had heard once a different lashon. I'll tell you in a minute. But he told me, he says like this: the Sar Shalom leaned into the Rebbe Marash's ear and whispered 1,000, the Sod of Shirayim, 1,000 words in 2 minutes.
He told me later, I heard from Yisroel the story. He said that the Rash told him, after he told him the whole thing, he told him how many words it was. The Rash told him. And that's what from Yisroel.
That's the same way I heard it from Noach Ashkenazi.
Okay.
He said this way he heard it from Zalek Slonim. Zalek Slonim heard from the Rebbe.
Sag mal, sag es ihm nachher.
Het hem reingezocht in ever the Sod from Shirayim, 1,000 words in 2 minutes. I had once heard a different story from one of my Melamdim about 1,000 words in 1 minute. So I asked him again. He says, "This is the way you heard it, 1,000 words in 2 minutes." From the Sod of Shirayim. In a moment. So he told him the secret of Shirayim. He told him 1,000 words in 2 minutes. So the Rebbe Marash took an apple, and ate the bracha, and the Sar Shalom ate the Shirayim. When he got back to Lubavitch, he spoke 1,000 words to him, but he said it in 2 minutes.
Like 2
Very
seconds.
fast.
He said it.
I listened to Rambam in 3 speed. Sometimes I didn't even listen.
You say it, you just listen.
No, that's the 3 speed. I didn't even listen. It's great.
So when he got back to Lubavitch, he told the Tzemach Tzedek what happened. So Tzemach Tzedek says, "Van Azah often about Rosh HaKodesh, was it you won't behalten? Such an old Rosh HaKodesh, you won't behind yourself." Anyway, so I heard once from a Malam, but it wasn't Lubavitch. I heard a different story about this 1,000 words, which is interesting. He said one time Sar Shalom was in the sukkah, and he started benching, and somebody ran in to say there's a fire in Shtetl. In those times, there was a fire in Shtetl.
By Rebbe Rash?
No, by the Sar Shalom.
Okay.
Fire in Shtetl in those times. So the Sar Shalom immediately stood up and went out. So everybody else went out also. When he came back, he asked the Elul, "You benched? Why did you leave?" So he said, so they say to him, "Well, we saw the Rebbe got up, so we all got up." He says, "There's a heichal in Shemayim where you can say 1,000 words in 1 minute." So I benched.
Now we know the sod of the 6 o'clock minute.
So that's why I heard this 1,000 words in 1 minute. So I asked him, "How's this actually good?" He told me it's short, but it was told 1,000 words in 2 minutes. Okay, so whatever the heichal is.
Is he talking to somebody else?
But you see, no, you're talking about the other people, the different minhagim. You're talking about other places, different minhagim, and then that's different minhagim. Frierdiker Rebbe was once by the Imremis, by the Zayd of the Ger. Zayd of today's Ger, Imremis in Ger. No, they're necessarily for Mocha.
Actually, can some mafs sein für Lachaim? Sagen Lachaim?
I'm saying L'chaim the whole time.
Everybody's Lachaim.
He wants to say something.
Lachaim on Kim Mashkin. This is I like good. You like you.
Every time I say L'chaim, you turn away. You know that trick.
You know that trick?
Chaim.
Chaim. That's the double. That's no Chaim. Look, chicken.
The Friedrich was once by the Imremis, by the Garrett. I don't know how we got into the subject, but he was, I heard this from my Shver, I'm not sure who you heard it from.
Who made it up?
There's a shtickle of this story in Shmus from Rebbe Kant's father, the full account. So the Friedrich Rebbe asked him, they were in the middle of talking, so he mentioned Nakuda. He said there's a sefer of a Kadmoin where it says that the horses are good for atzvus. If somebody's feeling atzvus, should deal with horses.
Everybody knows they
Lie
use
them
it
down,
now.
deal with them, whatever. I know now there's a whole theory in
Horses.
take kids who have suffered from whatever, they deal with horses. Whatever. So he said the state sefer from Hakadmi, you should deal with horses. The Friedrich Rebbe said to the Imre Emes, the state sefer from Hakadmi. The Imre Emes had a library in Poland, which probably wasn't a library like his. He had an enormous library. And he said, I don't remember such a thing. So the Friedrich Rebbe said, if I show you, will you do something that I asked you? The Imre Emes was very curious because he didn't remember. So he said, yeah. He said, yeah, I'll do something. So he took the sefer and the Friedrich Rebbe showed him where it says it. So the Imre Emes said, what do you want me to do? He says, I want you to make shalom with the exam. That time was an exam, there was a lot of friction.
Auch so meistens. Überhaupt so meistens. Bleibst ein bisschen noch heim, sagst du überhaupt nur meistens. Zählt ihn an Liegen.
Rabbi Bartfeld, can you tell us the Hasidus with your father?
I can't tell anything except to be. I don't talk in front of
No, you turn behind. You turn behind.
geschenkt. Da Malta, und Ähnliches. Was fragst du? Wir haben they can't read English, they can't read Valley people I asked a bunch of guys, Valley guys I asked, this is my fucking thing, the whole shops I'm doing this, the whole shops I'm doing this. You try to take a look higher, and take the same thing, I tell the guy, I do the whole when do you do it? Because the next one is why he has
we don't understand.
Sorry, I've been late.
You come in a double.